If you're ever in your bank transactions tab and you see a deposit and you know that you received the payments from customers that make up that deposit and a match just isn't showing up, stop and watch this video before you go about classifying that transaction. This exact event is why duplicates actually happen when it comes to income in QuickBooks Online. Okay, so let's take this one transaction, for example. I have this counter deposit for $6,670. Now, I happen to know that that particular deposit is made up of 4 separate payments that I received from clients all on the same day that I have already recorded in QuickBooks Online. But I can see right here there is no match available for this transaction. So what that tells me is that I still have to tell QuickBooks one more piece of information before it will appropriately record this transaction for me. So what do I do at this point? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to the plus create button here, and I'm going to hit bank deposit, okay? When I do that, I am going to be presented with a list of all the transactions that are currently sitting in undeposited funds that might make up this particular transaction. And what I would want to do is I would want to start giving QuickBooks additional information, right? So I want to tell QuickBooks where I am depositing this money. This is actually incorrect. I would want to tell it that I'm putting it in the checking account. The date here should be the date that the money cleared our bank account. So that was on the 22nd. So I would want to enter that. And then the final piece of this puzzle here is that I want to tell QuickBooks that these are the 4 transactions that total up to that $6,670. Okay. Now at this point, I could go ahead and hit save and close. And if I were to go back into my bank transactions tab, there would actually be a match available for this transaction. But I'm not going to save this transaction because I do want to show you one other way that you could go about this if you knew that you had already recorded all of these transactions in QuickBooks and that they just needed to be grouped together. Okay, so instead of saving, I'm going to go ahead and close. Yes, close without saving. And there is one other way that I could tie all of those transactions to this particular deposit. If I select the match button right here, QuickBooks is going to come up with a whole list of transactions. Now, one of the reasons that it's slightly easier to go plus, create, and then make bank deposit is because you can see there are more transactions sitting here than the ones that were sitting in undeposited funds. This can kind of muddy the waters a little bit, and it can make it a little bit harder to match the transactions that actually should be paired up to this transaction. But if you happen to have the deposit slip in front of you, or if you're happening to see this information on your bank screen at the time, you can absolutely go through this process this way as well, okay? So basically what I would want to do here is the same thing that I was doing in the other screen, except QuickBooks already knows that this is going into the checking account and it already knows the date. So I just have to fill in that final piece of information, which is which of these transactions make up that total of $6,670. So I happen to know that it was this transaction here, this transaction, this transaction, and this transaction, okay? And you can see that what we are ultimately looking for is that the bank transaction amount matches up with the selected amount, okay? If there was a difference, it would basically, I would have to select this option here and then say resolve the difference, okay? And you can see that there is a resolution already proposed for this. But because I have this $35 amount sitting here, and well, now I want to delete this because I don't want that on there since I do have that $35. But this is how I could also tell QuickBooks that all of these transactions should be matched together. Now, if I'm going through it this way, once I hit match, this is going to disappear from my bank transactions tab and be recorded in my register. So I will go ahead and hit match. So Now that that has been done and taken care of, if I were to go back up here to create and then bank deposit, those transactions, those 4 transactions that I associated with that particular bank deposit are no longer showing here as waiting to be matched to a deposit transaction, okay? Now, I know you didn't get to see what it would look like on the bank transactions screen if we had gone through this process, but I can actually show you. If I had gone bank deposits, make deposit, and then marked off all of those transactions along with the date, it would come through looking something like this. Okay, so it would show me that there was a deposit for that amount on that date. The difference being it would say that it was a deposit, not a sales receipt. Okay, but the bottom line is that there would be a record there and that I would just be matching that transaction now that I had given QuickBooks the missing puzzle pieces. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Holly from Accrual Mistress Bookkeeping and Consulting. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, please do subscribe so that you'll be alerted when future videos are posted.